three unrelated mysteries that happen to look alike. Giant sandstone jars. Who were they? It was not a folklore. This is where researchers found them. No name for who built them. It was scientifically dated as ancient. A place to lay the dead. Imagine you are walking through a forest in the hills of northeast India and you find a stone jar taller than you. Then you find another one and another, scattered between the trees, half buried, half swallowed by the roots. Like something or someone dropped them here and just left. 65 of them. Some are plain, some are carved with strange patterns nobody can explain. Local archaeologists brought in real scientists to study them. But scientists came back with almost nothing. No name for who built them, no clear reason why they were built. This was the honest line from the research team themselves. We still don't know who made the giant jars. It's all a bit of a mystery. And the people who live closest to these jars, whose families have lived in these hills for generations, they say a different people built them. A people who are not there anymore. In this video, you are going to find out that these jars are not alone in the world. And the reason why might connect the history of two countries. Dima Asau district, Assam. Deep hill forest, far from any road you would recognize. This is where researchers found them. Giant sandstone jars, some over 3 meters tall, taller than a doorway, carved out of solid rock and dragged somehow into the remote hillsides with no obvious way to move something that heavy. As I already told, some are completely plain and others have some carvings on them. Geometric patterns, faces, and symbols that nobody working on this project could confidently explain. And they are not sitting in one neat cluster. They are spread across multiple hidden sites, scattered through the hills, like someone placed them deliberately far apart. In 2022, a real research team from Australian National University, Northeastern Hill University, and Nagaland University published their findings in a peer-reviewed journal called Asian Archaeology. And their conclusion was not about a discovery. It was an admission. They didn't know who carved these jars. They didn't know exactly when and why anyone would haul multi-ton stone containers into the middle of nowhere and leave them there. Some of the jars contain traces of what might be cremated remains, which has led to one working theory. Maybe these were used in funeral rituals, a place to lay the dead. But that's an inference from partial evidence. Nobody has proven it. This is where it gets stranger. The Naga communities who live in these hills, whose ancestors have been here for generations, don't claim these jars as their own history either. They have their own name for the people they believe actually built them. They call them the CME, a vanished people, not remembered as ancestors, remembered as someone else, someone who was here before and is not anymore. This is not a new legend invented to match the jars. A British anthropologist named Ursula Graham Bauer documented this exact belief while living among the Zemi Naga back in 1930s, decades before any of these jars were ever formally studied by the outside researchers. The story existed before the science showed up to explain it. Who were they? And why here? To understand that, we need to leave these hills completely, because the answer is not going to come from Assam. It's going to come from somewhere that on the surface looks like it has nothing to do with any of this at all. Thousands of years ago, long before any nation on a modern map existed, groups of people began moving, slowly, generation by generation, out of the hill regions of what's now Northeast India and southern China. They followed river valleys into the Southeast Asia. This wasn't one big migration. It happened in waves over thousands of years. And linguists have actually traced it, not through guesswork, but through language itself. There's a family of languages called Austroasiatic, spoken today across some parts of India, Bangladesh, and deep into Southeast Asia, Vietnam, Cambodia, and Laos. Completely different countries, completely different modern cultures, but their languages share a root that traces back to the same ancient source. Genetic studies back this up too. Populations across this entire stretch, from Northeast Indian hill communities to groups deep in mainland Southeast Asia, carry a shared ancestral markers, evidence of a real ancient movement of people along this exact corridor. Now thousands of kilometers away from Assam, in Laos, there is a place called the Plain of Jars. Not 5 or 10 jars, thousands of them. Massive stone containers, some standing taller than a person, scattered across open plains in Zaingkoang province. It's such a significant site that UNESCO named it as World Heritage Site. Nobody living in the Laos today claims direct ancestry to the people who built them either. A French researcher named Madeleine Colani first surveyed the site back in 1930, and her conclusion was the same shape as ours. These were probably tied to the burial practices. But the identity of the builders was a mystery even then. Nearly a century later, a 2023 study used an advanced dating technology on the Laos jars and pushed their age back to as early as the late 2nd millennium BC. Genuinely ancient. It was not a folklore. It was scientifically dated as ancient. And it doesn't stop there. In central Sulawesi, Indonesia, a third location on a completely different island, there are more of these giant stone containers, locally called Kalambas. 3 separate locations, 3 different modern countries, all building the same strange thing, massive carved stone jars. These are not 3 unrelated mysteries that happen to look alike. Remember that ancient migration corridor, the one that linguists had traced through the language, stretching from the hills of northeast India through Southeast Asia, all the way to the islands beyond. That corridor runs directly through every single one of these jar sites. Assam, Laos, Sulawesi, not scattered randomly across Asia, sitting almost exactly along the same ancient path that real genetic and linguistic research says people actually migrated thousands of years ago, long before any border existed. The Naga call the builders of their jars the CME. Laos has no name for their builders at all. Nobody in Sulawesi claims theirs either. What if that's because they are not 3 vanished people? They are one, a single ancient culture moving slowly along the corridor over thousands of years, carrying the exact same practice with them, carving giant stone jars for their dead, and leaving pieces of themselves in 3 places that would one day become 3 separate countries, speaking languages that still today share the same ancient root. Now here's the honest line, because this is not settled science. Researchers have found real linguistic and genetic evidence of this migration corridor. What they have not done is proving that the same specific culture built all 3 jar sites. That link, Assam to Laos to Sulawesi, is a real credible hypothesis some researchers have raised. It is not a confirmed fact. Treat it as an open question. It actually is. And one giant unanswered question that no institution has never officially closed. Were those CME people ever really gone? Or did they just keep walking?